You found it. Your home for the best content on your favorite team, the Fighting Tigers of LSU. Do us a favor. Subscribe to the channel. Leave your comments below. And be sure to smash that like button. It was a good win over a solid team. I don't think anybody here is going to do backflips because LSU beat a 6-win Vanderbilt team, nor should you. But 3-game losing streak. There were questions about how much buy-in this team had, the direction of the program. And with all of your stated goals gone, there's a real question about how they'd respond. I mean, you can't win the SEC. You can't go to the playoff. You can't win the Natty. You can't win 10 games. It's all that's gone. So all of that, which you had prepared for since spring, is now out the window. How do you respond? Well, I think we got our answer. It did not look like that from the onset, because that game could not have possibly started worse. LSU fumbles the opening kickoff. Thankfully, Juwan Johnson recovered it, but then LSU proceeds to go 3 and out. By the way, on 3rd and 3, false start on DJ Chester. Now it's 3rd and 8. You got a punt. On the first play after the punt, 63 yards for a touchdown. Fans are booing. Students are chanting fire Brian Kelly. And then, not only was it that bad, but on that touchdown play, Gio Paez grabbed a face mask, which was enforced on the kickoff. So they kicked off from midfield, squibbed it, and a Vanderbilt player knocked the holy hell out of Trey'Dez Green, who in effect tackled, I believe it was Josh Williams, the ball carrier. So now you're at your own 10-yard line. I mean, it was a comedy of errors. Whatever you could have imagined, the worst-case scenario unfolding, it was all unfolding. And then LSU put together a 90-yard touchdown drive to tie the game, and Vanderbilt never led again. It was really impressive the way they managed that and how well they played. I want to start with Garrett Nussmeier because this was his best game. He threw for over 300 yards. He protected the football. Pro Football Focus graded Garrett Nussmeier his highest grade of the year. And if you're curious why and how it went the way it did, after the game, Brian Kelly was asked about the run game and like how the run game started going so well. And do you have this one? He was asked about the run game, and he mentioned the offensive line, but listen to where he went.
I will tell you, a lot of it had to do with certainly the offensive line and getting great movement up front. But more importantly, it was Garrett Nussmeier. He managed the running game as well as he's managed it since he's been here. The ball had to get out on the perimeter on sometimes. You know, those balls that were thrown out on the perimeter, Aaron Anderson or Daniels, those were, in even Lacey Late, those were run plays. But we were getting overloaded, and the ball needs to get out to the soft corner or to wherever that access is. And he did a fabulous job with it. And this is the standard that we need from him relative to where our running game can be really solid if we get that kind of play, which he gave us tonight.
Hey, couple things there. Number one, everyone who complains about play calling. I tell you all the time, you don't know the play. He just told you there's a handful of plays that were run calls, but Nuss came to the line, checked out of it, threw a pass. Criticize play calling all you want. You don't know the play call. How can you criticize something when you don't even know the play call? But Kelly also said post-game they simplified. They simplified this week. They had like 4 calls on defense. They just simplified everything to play fast and free. What did we say last week about Nuss? Instinct is the best part of his game. Hit your back foot, go. What you don't want is Nuss stopping, slowing, thinking. That's when you have pressures and sacks and mistakes. He's at his best when he's gripping it and ripping it, and you saw that. He threw for 300 yards in the game. Think less, play more instinctive, but play smart. By the way, Garrett Nussmeier Saturday also passed Rohan Davey for the 3rd highest single-season passing total in LSU history. He now only trails Joe Burrow and Jaden Daniels in the years they won the Heisman. That's pretty good. And by the way, Jaden last year threw for 38-12. Nuss is at 34-58. Effectively, with this week against Oklahoma in a bowl game, Garrett Nussmeier will surpass Jaden Daniels' passing total of a year ago. And Garrett will only trail Joe Burrow's incredible, never-to-be-touched 2019 season. For all the complaining many of you have done about Garrett Nussmeier, still a first-year starter, but he's been incredible at times this year. Hey, we all think South Carolina's defense is pretty good, don't we? We all think South Carolina, they scored 38 on him. It ain't been perfect, but there's been plenty of good to look forward to in the future. Talked a lot last week about Paul Mabenga. He was bad against Florida. They put the graphic up on the screen this week. 3 sacks, 9 pressures. It was bad. Against Vanderbilt, no sacks, 3 pressures. He was better. Credit where it's warranted, praise where it's due. Paul Mabenga took a step. That was good to see. Defensively, we saw the linebacker rotation change a little bit. Brian Kelly talked. They went to a bit more of a 4-3 look, and a lot of it had to do with the opponent that they played. For Devon Keys, he played 46 snaps. There were 48 defensive snaps for LSU. Devon Keys, the freshman, played 46 of them. Greg Penn played 19 snaps. That was his fewest. You also saw West Weeks play more than 20 snaps in this ballgame. Remember, we talked about West Weeks. He had played in 3 games. He'd battled some injuries. So this was the 4th game West Weeks has played this year, meaning he can't play again. If he plays against Oklahoma, he loses his redshirt year. By all accounts, they want him to keep that extra year so he can come back. So do not expect to see West Weeks play this week against Oklahoma unless they're in a dire situation where they have to have him. But I can't imagine a situation that would unfold where you'd play West Weeks this week against Oklahoma. That would be more valuable than keeping his eligibility for another season. And if you start to look ahead, you'll have Whit Weeks and West Weeks next year. Devon Keys, who has played more. And there's more talk about Harold Perkins returning, as we've talked a bit. More of the scuttle is that he's leaning toward coming back. I'll see it when it happens, when the deadline to enter the draft comes and goes, and Harold is still an LSU Tiger. But my goodness, you could talk about a linebacker room. Then you could go add in the portal as well, where that's a pretty significant group. Step up from where you are this year. Also had tipped Damian Ramos. He set the LSU record for consecutive PATs made. He hasn't missed a PAT since the one that was blocked against Florida State in 2022. A dubious way to start the streak, but since then hasn't missed. So congrats to Damian Ramos for that. You know what stings about this the most? Everything that you needed to happen to get to Atlanta has fallen into place. Georgia beat Tennessee. You didn't even need Bama to lose, but they did. And now you beat Vanderbilt. If you had found a way to win a game against Florida that you so thoroughly dominated, where you controlled the ball for 42 minutes and ran 92 plays, if you had found a way to win that game that you dominated, you'd be playing Oklahoma Saturday for the right to go to Atlanta to take your swing at Georgia to get into the college football playoff. I'm not saying LSU would have won, not saying this is a great team, a playoff team, or anything along those lines. But what a weekend like what we just saw illustrates is that you're not far. I get it. It is so hard to have patience. I get it. And I'm not sitting here telling you everything's awesome because it's not. Running 92 plays and scoring 16 points is a problem. Getting dog walked by Alabama on your home field, by a mediocre Alabama team on your home field is a problem. But scoring 38 at South Carolina, beating a good Ole Miss team, those are good moments. You know, beating Ole Miss, which beat Georgia, beating Vanderbilt, which beat Bama, beating South Carolina, which beat A&M. Like, you have good moments and good things, building blocks on this team. They're not great. They're not perfect. They're not championship caliber yet. But there is good there. And you can see from the 10,000-foot view that they are moving and building in the right direction. Now, it's critical. They finish off this 2025 signing class. They're active in the portal, which Kelly has said, like I told you they were going to. Kelly's acknowledged it in his press conference Monday, that they're moving in the right direction. I'm not here to paint sunshine and roses and tell you everything's awesome. I mean, You win this weekend, you're 8-4. That's not okay by anybody's standard. Hell, you could lose this weekend and be 7-5. Nobody should be okay with that. But you can also look and realistically see there are good things. Vanderbilt scored to get it within a touchdown, just under 6 minutes to play, and a lot of us are sitting there thinking, what happened? They didn't touch the ball again because your offense went and chewed 6 minutes off the clock to end the football game, taking a knee at the 10-yard line. That's dominance. That's something Bama couldn't do against Vandy. So it was a nice win. It was a solid win when you needed something good to reverse the momentum. See if you do it again this weekend against Oklahoma. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.